You're listening to the Trading Bear Podcast. This is episode 5, The Daily Show.
Mystery player. Position.
Midfielder.
Start price.
£2.57.
Current price.
£3.58.
PB.
4p.
MB.
66p.
Dividend yield.
19.55%.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining again. In the news today, Ranieri sacked at Fulham after 16 games. Scott Parker's been put in charge there. Ramos has had a 2-game European ban for deliberate booking. He will therefore miss the second leg of the Ajax leg, which they're currently 2-1 up, and the first leg of the quarter-finals. And finally, Liverpool, 5-0 victors over Watford. The Liverpool defence are the talking point. It's not Salah. It's not Firmino. Mane did score 2 goals, but we're looking at Virgil van Dijk today, along with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Virgil van Dijk then, he's the first of today's risers. The Liverpool centre-back and captain has gone up 28p today, taking his price to £4.72. Price was caused by him scoring 2 goals, 2 late goals, in their 5-0 thrashing against Watford last night. Is it a good price, £4.72? I would argue it is. In my opinion, he's currently the best centre-back in the world. He generates MB, media bonus. If Liverpool can keep up the title race, he's going to get attention from that. They're still in the Champions League. 0-0 away to Bayern. Not going to be easy, but it is going to attract some attention to himself. And as we saw last night, he's got that huge goal threat from set pieces as well. He's the second highest, most expensive defender on Football Index after Joshua Kimmich, who's £7.11 now. £4.72 though is a logical rise. He's a decent player. I still think it's a good buy there. Today's second riser is Romelu Lukaku, £4.50. He went up 30p on the back of his 2 goals last night in Manchester United's 3-1 win over Crystal Palace. Now, he started the game due to Rashford. Rashford currently has an ankle injury. To what extent that injury is, we're not sure yet. So as long as Rashford is out, Lukaku's going to start up front, and he's finally getting the goals in after the terrible time he had under Mourinho at the start of the season. £4.50. Does he justify that price? Not at all. If you're new to the platform, or if you just joined the platform in the last, say, 2 or 3 months, he is massively overpriced. He is terrible for the PB being performance-based dividends. An example of this, to win PB, to win those dividends on a daily basis, you want your player scoring around about 200, just above 200, 210, 220. Lukaku scored a score of 157, and that was with the game-winning goal, i.e. the deciding goal. If he's hitting 157 with a game-winning goal and 2 goals, and he's still nowhere near that dividend price, that tells you all you need to know. £4.50, just avoid him. Unless he goes on massive scoring runs, if he consistently hits 2 goals a game or 2 goals every other game, just avoid him. He's massively overpriced at the moment. So I'd expect his price to fall. 2 other players that prices have fallen today are Sanchez and Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's have a look at Sanchez first. So Lukaku's teammate there at Manchester United. He's gone down 27p. He's now at £4.31. Why is this? Well, he didn't score. Like most players who fall down in price the day after the game, their price is just going to go down 10, 15 more if they're a popular player. Sanchez is now turning into a real difficult player to judge. He's now 30 years old. He's earning $400,000 a week. He's the most expensive player in terms of wages received in the whole of the Premier League. Can he recover to his form he showed at Arsenal? If he can, then he becomes a great buy. If he can't, he just carries on what he's doing. His price is just going to slowly drip down, and he's going to hover around about the £3.50, £4 mark. All it would take, though, is just to get 1 or 2 goals, start showing his old form, and he can hit the £6, £7 mark. He did start to get that when Mourinho was sacked, and then Rashford took all the headlines. He shot up, as did Pogba, and Sanchez has been left just in the dark, waiting to hit a form, and he just hasn't. Can he recover? That is the question. Wait and see on that one. Today's second faller then is Ronaldo at Juventus. Another one like Sanchez. He just seems to be dripping. He fell 12p today, and he's now down at £7.57. It was only in September, only 4 months ago, he hit a peak of £13. He's lost almost half his value in only 3-4 months. Now, the large part of this was due to the ongoing allegation that was made in late October, which immediately hit his price, and that caused the initial downfall from £13 to around about the £11 mark initially. Since then, despite winning dividends, his price is just going down and down, and there's been a huge debate on Index Gain about Ronaldo as whether or not he's good value or not. Well, let's have a look at some of the figures. He's actually earned a huge amount of dividends this year. He's earned £1.90 in dividends alone, giving him a 25% yield, which sounds big, but when you compare it to his yield last year, which was a staggering 79%, then you can see that's massively been reduced. And it's weighing up how long Ronaldo stays fit for. Now, you could easily argue he's going to stay at the top of the game for another 2-3 years. He's adapted his game really well. He's obviously kept himself really fit, and he could easily play at the top level of the game for another 2-3 years. So it's getting that balancing act of, yes, he's going to deliver dividends, but how much is he going to fall down in price? Can the two offset each other, and at what price does it worth, or rather, what price is it worth getting into? I would suggest if he drops anything below £5.50, so if he starts hovering around the £4.50, £5 mark, then that shows great value. He's guaranteed to get you £1.90, £2, £2.10 in divs. He's not going to go anything below £3. That would be absolutely crazy for a player like Ronaldo. So if he goes any further than the £5.50 mark, I'm going to snap him up. So 2 players today in the fallers list in Sanchez and Ronaldo that's worth keeping an eye on for different reasons, but if they fall enough, they could become very viable options to buy. Keep an eye on that. Let's head into your questions now then. We've got one question from Mike in Derby and one from Steve in Newcastle. Mike up first then. He asks, can I buy a player after the match is finished, i.e. 5pm for a 3pm kickoff, and still receive dividends? Mike, this has a 2-part answer. The first part is yes, and the second part is no. The first part is yes, because if your player, let's say for argument's sake, you bought Neymar and he played at 3 o'clock, he scored 2 goals and you bought him at 5 o'clock. You would get your in-play dividends. So he scored 2 goals, 2p, you'd get a total of 4p per share. You'd get that regardless when you bought. As long as you bought that share before 12pm, midnight, you would get that paid outcome. All you have to do is hold the share before midnight on the given respective day. So yes, you would get the in-play dividends. However, if he won PB, let's say he had a score of 250 that day and he was top of the PB rankings, you would not get the dividends for the day there. You wouldn't get the PB dividends. So the PB dividends for a triple match day are 12p for each position and then a bonus 6p for the star player. So you wouldn't get the 18p PB dividends for Neymar on the day if you bought a 5pm after the match had finished. You'd need to get that share bought by 2pm on that match day. So had the match been at 11am and you saw Neymar score 2 goals and he got a score of 250, game finishes at 1pm, you can then buy, you'd get the in-play dividends for sure, and then you're kind of risking whether he wins the PB that day or not. If he scores good enough and he wins the PB, you've got the shares before 2pm, and that's the criteria, you must buy before 2pm, then yes, you would win the dividends. So to clear that up, for PB dividends, you must buy shares before 2pm. For in-play dividends, you can buy any time up to midnight of that game day. Second question from Steve, and Steve's in Newcastle. Thanks for listening, Steve. And he says, I'm £1 up per share on Cho being Callum Hudson-Odoi, and I'm tempted to sell. Is it the right move to do? Now, in this situation, there's no right or wrong. You're £1 up, you're in profit. If you take it now, you've made money. Great. If you don't do it, yes, he might go up, he might go down. We've got no real information either way as to what he's going to do, so that wouldn't necessarily be a bad play either. What I like to do in this situation, if I'm thinking about selling, and on my spreadsheet, you can download it on the website tradingbearpodcast.com, on that I have a figure which displays 20%. Now what that does, that takes the figure that I buy the player at, let's say I bought him at £5, and an increase of 20% would see his price hit £6, i.e. the £1 profit that Steve mentioned in his message. Now, I don't necessarily sell my players if they hit that 20%. All that 20% figure does is gives me a trigger to review his price. I then go over a few things and think, okay, now's the right time to sell, or no, I think he's still got a bit of movement in him. What I like to do, if I have 100 shares in him, I'd like to sell half. I often sell half the shares. If I'm even thinking about selling him, I sell half the shares. That way, I'm banking half my profit and I'm still got the other half to play with whether he goes up or down. Now, in Cho's particular case, I can see him going up from here. He's got a very stable price, doesn't go down easily, despite not really doing much in the past 2-3 months. Yes, he scored that 1 goal in Europa League in an absolutely nothing tie. He's got a very stable price overall. That's the sort of player I like to buy and like to hold long term. So should you sell, Steve? I would sell half your shares, keep the other half, see what happens. Thanks to Mike and Steve for sending those questions in. And remember, you can send your question in to tradingbearpodcast.com or get me on Index Gain and just tag me as Trading Bear. That's it for this episode. You can download and subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify and YouTube. Head over to the website to send in a question, tradingbearpodcast.com. Alternatively, you can find me on Index Gain under the name Trading Bear. Thanks for listening and stay tuned for the Mystery Player.
Mystery player. Position.
Midfielder.
Start price.
£2.57.
Current price.
£3.58.
PB.
4p.
MB.
66p.
Dividend yield.
19.55%.
Trading Bear. Today's mystery player was Mesut Özil.